Good evening. I'm going to have a talk with that neighbor if he's going to continue to show up to the show late. I mean, hell, he just pulled in while the intro was going, so he's got to get his door open, his lawn chair ready. Just kidding. Wow. Was watching the news unfold today. Holy cow. And I'm mainly referring to what's happening in Kazakhstan. And it's just like, wow. Now, if, my opinion, if people want to see what an insurrection is, look at what's happening in Kazakhstan right now. That's an insurrection. I'm not saying they're right or they're wrong. I'm not, getting behind or supporting, because I don't know all the ins and outs, because my boots aren't on them grounds. And from what I can tell, though, at least from what's being reported, I get why the people are upset. Now, I thought, and I could be wrong, but I thought that they kind of pulled back away from what their stance was with fuel. I think they I read an article where they agreed to drop the price, or I can't remember exactly what it was, but there was a remedy that was offered. I do remember that. Now, again, my boots aren't on them grounds, so, I don't know whether or not for sure, number one, that they were even offered that, or number two, that the offer was worth taking up. I don't know. But I do know that the people didn't stop. And it has escalated to the level of, man, crazy. And it makes me wonder, it makes me question the likelihood of something similar here. I mean, you got to understand. I know that there's a lot of American people that are really being stretched right now. If what happened in Kazakhstan would happen here right now, people are already pretty thin. And, to think of energy costs, just right off the top of the bat, energy cost, going up to, twice what they are now, I do think you would see mass unrest here in the United States. Because that would put us in the exact same position as it does, if I'm going to say this correctly, the Kazakhstani people. I don't know if that's how you would say it. But, wow. Pretty insane. But the headline is about North Korea. Unfortunately, I don't have nearly as much information today about what's going on with North Korea as what I do Kazakhstan. But that's for pretty obvious reasons, I would say. Wow. Let me have a sip of coffee, and we're going to just make this a night like last night. I'm just going to run through the stuff. I'm thinking about peeling this pullover off, though. I'm almost done with my second cup of coffee, and yikes, I'm a little warm. Hang on, stand by. Pardon me while I slip into something a little more comfortable. Let's see. So anyway, I figured we would make it kind of an easy night like we did last night. Why not? during this moment of I don't know what you want to call it. It's sure the hell not peace. But I'll tell you what, if it wasn't for Kazakhstan, it would have been a real slow news day, to be honest. You'll see that. Get the right screen. Let me move it this time instead of trying to read from the other screen. Oh, by the way, updates on us. Jen did her... We'll try that again. Sorry, I was practicing my Joe Biden language. So anyway, Jen got her computer back today, so that was good. And Blue's doing better. She got medicine for... I do believe it's allergies. I think that's what it boils down to. I think it's allergies. So that came in today, and she's doing better. So that's awesome. So, and like I say, Jen's computer's back up and going. Still don't have all the parts yet for, I'm still waiting on a couple of the parts for the heater. But I did get the workspace cleared off today so that I can start working on videos. I have to disassemble what I have put together now on the heater. I have to disassemble it all so I can start from scratch with video content, everything to my recommendation on how to pick out a good diesel heater, and because there's a ton of different models on the market, and then start the tear down of it, and I'm going to show you A to Z as much as I can think to show you in different videos, not all in one video. Things like, how to change the temperature sensor, the glow plug, the, extra parts you're going to want to have on hand in case something fails. So, temperature sensor being one of those parts, I would say have no less than 2, maybe 3 backups, and you can find them for like $10 a piece. So, in some places it's about 15. So nonetheless, you just want to make sure you have backup parts for them, because there are particular parts that are known to fail on them. But that'll get probably started tomorrow on those series of videos. I'll start recording tomorrow on that. And then that'll be over on the Dirt Cheap Preps channel. So just so everybody knows, it won't be over here at the Watchman News. It'll be over on the Dirt Cheap Preps channel. Links in the description of this video to that channel. So, anywho, I think that covers up any updates, because, hell, I normally cover that the very first thing out of the gate and didn't even think about it. So, anyway, let me pop on over. And have a couple vapes before we get started here. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Right, chia is 120 milliliters of deliciousness. If you remember the cherry blow pops suckers, with the gum in the middle, that is what this tastes like. It's, for those that don't know, it's juice for my electronic cigarette. So I haven't made this recipe in like eons, and I just barely had enough of the right flavorings to make a batch, or to make 120 milliliters of it. I definitely have to order some more marshmallow and whipped cream flavorings, because that's the two that I pretty much used most. Well, one of them I used all of what I had, and the other one I don't have a little bit left. So, and it uses a lot of those flavorings. So anyway, need to get some more of those. This stuff, like I say, the cherry blow pops. Oh my goodness. I keep threatening, and I haven't done it yet, but I keep threatening Lorenz which is a flavoring company, their bubblegum is the same flavoring that's like in Bazooka. Everybody knows Bazooka bubblegum. Their flavoring is the same as Bazooka bubblegum. And so anyway, I keep threatening to take and just put a drop or two because it's real super potent in this recipe, and see how that turns out. That I think would give it just the extra twist to make it perfect. Anyway, I'll shut up. I mean, I got off of cigarettes. Why would I want to vape something that tastes like that? Hell with that. When I first quit, yeah, I kind of wanted that, but there was no such thing as a good flavored, tobacco e-cig flavor. That there was no such thing. And to this day, I don't think they have it, really close. But, so I like fruity stuff, candy stuff. No, I'm not a fruit. I just like fruity type of vape juice. Alright. North Korea fires unidentified missile. So this is what kind of started all of this. This is interesting. Says North Korea has launched a ballistic missile off its east coast. Oh, I didn't bring you guys back. Sorry. Beam them in, Scotty. I'll start over. North Korea has launched a ballistic missile off its east coast, according to military officials in Seoul and Japan, though the exact munition used in the apparent test remains unclear. North Korea fired one short-range projectile, which is presumed to be a ballistic missile, from an inland region into the East Sea today. Around 8:10 a.m., South Korea's Joint Chief of Staff said in a statement on Wednesday, as quoted in local media. The officials added that the military is maintaining readiness posture in preparation for additional launches and will closely monitor the situation along with its allies in the U.S. Japan's Coast Guard also announced a North Korean ballistic missile launch early on Wednesday morning, though it offered few details, according to Reuters. The reported weapons test comes just days after Seoul Korean President Moon Jae-in reiterated vows to improve ties with the neighbor to the north, including discussion of a peace declaration to bring a formal end to the Korean War, which was never settled in an official treaty or armistice. Pyongyang, however, recently declared that it would seek to build up its defenses without delay, pointing to regional military tensions and international instability. So, that is, and remember, it is kind of one of those I told you so moments. I've been talking in depth here and there lately about, people's predictions and how we need to be a little more fluid with our minds when it comes to this stuff. Because I said anything can change in the blink of an eye. And, as I gave as an example, you take it a month ago or so, month and a half ago, my biggest concern would have been Russia-Ukraine. And then, last week, or was it early this week? I don't know. I was saying, I don't know, Iran and Israel seems to be the hotbed at the moment. Now North Korea says, hold my beer. So always be open. Don't focus on one potential SHTF because you could get blindsided, right? You could be watching Russia-Ukraine and be thinking, okay, well, everything's going to be cool because war will break out over there first, and that'll give me plenty of heads up to know that I need to go into, full mode, so to speak. However, if we don't pay attention to something like this, we could be caught off guard with an EMP, or even just be caught off guard with 1 or 2 successful strikes. It doesn't have to be a situation to where the whole nation's wiped out to really put a hurt on us. An EMP, obviously. And I do believe if there's any country on this planet, in fact, the only country on this planet that I believe that would release an EMP in a first strike scenario, mind you, I said a first strike scenario, would be North Korea. And I don't think that Rocket Man would be too hesitant to do it. So, there's that. So yeah, I think we need to have a little bit of concern. Let's see what turned up on this. North Korea unveils missile fired in the latest test. It says North Korea said it successfully launched a hypersonic munition in a recent test, claiming the projectile struck a target hundreds of miles away after Washington denounced the move as destabilizing. Hypersonic. Okay, let me go ahead and continue. The missile precisely hit a set target some 700 kilometers or 435 miles off North Korea's east coast during the test launch, the state-run Korean Central News Agency said on Thursday, adding that leader Kim Jong-un did not attend the firing. South Korea's military first reported on the launch early on Wednesday, the first of its kind since last October, and Seoul has since urged the North to sincerely respond to our efforts to make peace and cooperation through dialogue. Just hours after the test, South Korean President Moon Jae-in was present for a groundbreaking event for a rail line through the border town of Gosong, parts of the efforts to reconnect transit between the two neighbors. The U.S. State Department condemned the missile test as a violation of multiple UN Security Council resolutions and a threat to the DPRK's neighbors and the international community. Washington's Indo-Pacific Command, however, earlier acknowledged that this event does not pose an immediate threat to the U.S. personnel or territory or to our allies, though still slammed the launch for having destabilizing impact in the region. Pyongyang first claimed to possess a hypersonic weapon, the Hwasong-8 missile, following another test last September. However, military officials in Seoul said the munition appeared to be in an early stage of development at the time. Though the North has refrained from long-range missile and nuclear weapons testing since 2017, its short- and medium-range munitions tests have frequently come under fire by the U.S., which maintains a presence of some 30,000 soldiers in South Korea. So, the thing that really opens my eyes here is the fact, this is fact, that we haven't even successfully tested a hypersonic missile yet. Every test that we've had have been an abysmal failure. That's a fact. We have not achieved that level of ballistic weapons. We just haven't. And now North Korea did? First of all, you have to ask the obvious questions. How the hell did they do it? And I absolutely believe that China probably helped them with the development of that munition. I have no doubt. I have no doubt that they had help doing it. This gives North Korea first strike capability against the U.S. Now, to tie in something else, several months ago, a bunch of people were up in a tizzy, a bunch of like prepper channels and stuff were up in a tizzy over the shipping containers. This design that's been around for decades of using shipping containers in order to transport and give a launch platform for, kind of in an inconspicuous way. And there was a lot of fear-mongering about China doing it and all of that. And all of those designs go way back. And it didn't originate in China. Actually originated here. And it's just one of those things that it's like, duh, what a hell of a Trojan horse. So other countries looked into it. You can expect that most countries have weapons like that. They may not all be set up to put on a ship as cargo or anything like that, but those same type of shipping containers and stuff like that are awful handy to be able to put on the back of a flatbed truck. And if you look at different missile systems, that's kind of a lot of what they are. Some of them just have tubes. Some of them are big boxes like that that tilt up, and I'm sure you've seen them. So if any country was to try to Trojan horse us with a shipping container, I would have to say that would probably be North Korea. I don't see China doing that. Just don't. I don't think they need to. To be real honest, I don't think they need to. North Korea, at least at this particular moment in time, would probably have to get in a little close in order to use like this particular weapon. Well, like it said, 435 miles. They would have to be like in the Gulf with this. And there have been, as I've said before, a number of books written that start out with a launch of a weapon like an EMP from the Gulf and a container ship. So I think I know of 2 or 3 books that I've read that had that scenario in them. So it's not a new thought, not whatsoever. It's been planned. It's been obviously not tried, but I'm sure pretty much every country's got them. So I'm pretty positive Iran's got them. Maybe not nukes. I personally think Iran's already got nukes, honestly. And I've said that about North Korea, and turned out that I was correct. I've said that about Iran for some time now. I think they've got nukes. But even their conventional weapons, they have them. They have different models that are essentially shipping containers. They look like shipping containers. Not a new idea. So anyway, I wanted to make sure to bring this to everybody's attention, because if there's any country that I think that would essentially out of the blue try to launch an EMP, it would be this one right here. It's really the only one. I'm not saying that countries like Russia or China wouldn't use an EMP, but I don't think that they would use it in a first strike. I just don't. I think that would be most certainly part of a continued campaign, but not a first strike. North Korea, on the other hand, knows that whatever attack they make they have to make it count. So, anyway, that's all I do have on what happened in North Korea, because there's no more information that I am aware of at this time on that situation. Hang on. I do have a couple of news stories that were up there, so. And one of them, for sure, I want to make sure to add to what I say, because it's wacky. I'm dreaming of a... Hang on, I'm trying to... Huh? Don't even sing? Okay, let me see what the other one was real quick like. Dang it. Wrong button. Okay, let me get this one shared out and add it to the mix, because yikes. I believe we'll be covering these next. I believe. Come on, get out of there. Okay. Alright, something like that. I don't know. They may not be in the best order, but... Alright. Macron vows to piss off the unvaxxed into submission. How do you like that? French President Emmanuel Macron has suggested that deliberately pissing off the unvaccinated will persuade more citizens to take their COVID-19 shots, saying he is doing all he can to eliminate the vax skeptics from public life. During a lengthy sit-down with the Le Parisien newspaper on Tuesday, Macron said his goal is to make life as difficult as possible for the unvaccinated, hoping that outrage among the group will somehow prompt more people to get immunized. I am not about pissing off the French people, but as for the non-vaccinated, I really want to piss them off, and we will continue to do this to the end. This is the strategy, the president said, adding that only a small minority are still resisting. How do we reduce that minority? We reduce it, sorry for the expression, by pissing them off even more, he went on, saying his administration is putting pressure on the unvaccinated by limiting as much as possible their access to activities in social life. Are you listening to that? According to data compiled by the European Center for Disease Prevention and Control, just over 73% of France's population has received 2 vaccine doses, leaving millions of residents in the minority slammed by the president. And so what did the people think about all of this going on? Vaccine mandate protesters beat up hospital boss. Healthcare workers protesting against mandatory vaccination for medical staff in French Caribbean territory of Guadeloupe, I guess. I don't think that's Guadalupe. I think that's spelled differently, I thought. Not sure. Anyway, they have beaten up the director of a local hospital and torn clothes off his deputy. According to local media, the incident happened on Tuesday and involved around 50 members of a healthcare workers union. Gabby Clavier, general secretary of the trade union section, said that they had gathered outside the University Hospital of Guadeloupe to get their money back. Earlier, medical staff who had failed to comply with the mandate were subjected to pay deductions. Unvaccinated healthcare professionals were also set to be suspended after the December 31st deadline set by authorities. The hospital issued a statement saying the protesters had blocked the entrance, trapping the medical facility's director and several other personnel inside for a few hours. When they attempted to leave the building with a police escort, protesters reportedly kicked the director in the ribs and then delivered a powerful headbutt that nearly knocked him out. One of his deputies had his clothes torn off. Demonstrators were also said to have seriously damaged a vehicle belonging to a hospital official. The statement concluded by condemning violence and intimidation against hospital staff and pointing out that 95% of workers at the facility have received the COVID vaccination. The attack coincided with a press conference that was being held by groups opposing vaccine mandates and the so-called health pass. Guadeloupe, which is a French overseas region in the southeastern part of the Caribbean Sea, has been gripped by protests against COVID vaccine mandates since November last year. Demonstrations have frequently descended into rioting. France even had to send police reinforcements to the territory. So, I know that this doesn't directly relate to the last story I said, but this does directly relate to the loss of patience of people. It's crazy. It's crazy. You have people all over this world, nearly every nation I can think of, that are absolutely up in arms right now. For one reason or another. Here we have another EU state expands mandatory vaccinations and threatens fines. Italy's government has issued a decree requiring that everyone 50 years old and up be vaccinated against COVID-19, exempting only those who have recently recovered from the virus or who can't take the shots for medical reasons. The Council of Ministers unanimously approved the new mandate on Wednesday after weighing various possible measures to reduce the strain on hospitals amid the rapid strain of COVID-19's Omicron variant. The order is effective from February 15th and is set to continue through at least June 15th. Those who stubbornly refuse to comply will face a possible monthly fine of €100, according to Italian media reports. The stiffer penalty comes in addition to €600 to €1,500 fine, imposed last year for workers who declined to be immunized. People who've previously been infected with COVID-19 will only be exempted based on their natural immunity if their bout with the virus occurred within the past 6 months. So, this is crazy. This is nuts. Nuts. This is even nutser. Newspaper pitches COVID-19 internment camps. Yeah, Austria? I don't know. France? No. Scotland. Scotland's largest newspaper has floated the idea of creating internment camps to forcibly detain residents who have tested positive for COVID-19 or who are suspected of being infected. The Daily Record tabloid queried its Facebook followers about the policy on Tuesday, noting that Australians are being detained in COVID internment camps for 14 days if they test positive or are suspected positive. The outlet then asked, should we follow their lead? The newspaper didn't specify how suspected internments might be adjudicated and whether it would mean locking up those who are spotted sniffling excessively, for example, or citizens who refuse to get vaccinated against COVID-19. Last month, the same tabloid reported that 35% of UK residents believe the unimmunized should be forced into lockdown until the pandemic has passed, citing recent polling. It suggested the survey showed strong public support for harsher measures on unvaccinated Scots. The idea was met with pushback on social media. Anti-extremism activist Mahid Nawaz said the paper was, in effect, proposing crimes against humanity, while others noted that until recently the notion of COVID-19 internment camps had been portrayed as a deranged conspiracy theory in corporate media coverage. So, this is nuts. And I don't know that it is going to calm down. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think they're going to keep pushing, no matter what facts are, no matter what data is, they're going to keep pushing. Very interesting to watch it unfold, and it raises many, many, many questions. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna kind of just run through these kind of quickly because that's what the rest of the tabs I have open is concerning. It's Kazakhstan. And, yeah, it's been crazy. So, protesters storm government building in Kazakhstan's largest city, right? Let's see. The presidential palace is on fire in Kazakhstan. They breached the presidential residence in Almaty and set fire to the inside as Kazakhstan's former capital and other key cities remain gripped by unrest due to anger over a hike in fuel prices. It says the building has fallen into the hands of the demonstrators, local media reported, adding that gunshots were heard outside the compound. The Kazakh president had vowed tough response to the violent protests. Okay, I mean, this in one single day, and I want you to pay attention to this. I want you to pay attention how quickly this escalated in one day's time. Not even 24 hours, folks. We're talking one day. Just like imagine one day. We're talking 8-10 hours, I guess. It's crazy. So they decide, Kazakhstan that is, to shut off the internet. Now, I almost made a video. I should have made a video earlier today on this, and I wound up doing other stuff. Never did get the video out. But if you want to know why there's an internet kill switch in the hands of the U.S. president, this is why. It's not to stop big mass hacking attempts and stuff like that designed to bring down Wall Street or our banking system or... No, it's not. It's to stop you from communicating should they need to. So anyway, yeah, they shut the internet off. Shut the internet off so that people couldn't organize, they couldn't communicate, they couldn't report. Crazy. Their main airport, I mentioned this earlier at the top of the show. Their main airport was seized. Then shortly after that, they declared a nationwide state of emergency. Now, there was already a state of emergency for that particular area. But then once it escalated to this level, they went ahead and declared a national state of emergency. Gun battles in Kazakh City after government begins counter-terrorist op, says reports. It says here reports and videos of intense gunfire are coming from streets of Kazakhstan's largest city, Almaty. This is after the government launched a counter-terrorist operation blaming foreign-trained troops for chaos in the city. The operation was launched late on Wednesday, shortly after Kazakh President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev branded the ongoing unrest as a terror attack on the country. The president also said he had reached out to Russian-led Collective Security Treaty Organization for help in getting a grip on the situation. Footage circulating online purportedly shot in Almaty shows a large group of servicemen in riot gear walking through the middle of a street with multiple explosions heard in the background. Russia-led bloc approves peacekeeping deployment in Kazakhstan. This is just saying a peacekeeping force will be deployed for a limited period of time to stabilize the situation in Kazakhstan. The chairman of the Collective Security Treaty Organization, Nikol Pashinyan, has announced. In response to the appeal by President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, and considering a threat to national security and sovereignty of Kazakhstan caused, among other things, by outside interference. I want to point that out. The CSTO Collective Security Council decided to send collective peacekeeping forces to the Republic of Kazakhstan in accordance with Article 4 of the Collective Security Treaty, Armenian Prime Minister Pashinyan had said in a statement on Facebook. The alliance has yet to announce the scope and details of the deployment, but Pashinyan said the troops will stay in Kazakhstan for a limited period of time in order to stabilize and normalize the situation. There was an interesting thing there, though, and that leads to the next headline. U.S. denies role in Kazakhstan uprising. President Joe Biden's spokeswoman has denied that the U.S. government is behind the violent protests that have rocked Kazakhstan this week, claiming that unnamed Russians have falsely accused Washington of triggering the tumult. The White House is monitoring the protests in Kazakhstan and supports calls for calm for protesters to express themselves peacefully and for authorities to exercise restraint, Jen Psaki told reporters on Wednesday. Psaki didn't specify who in Russia has alleged an American role in the Kazakhstan unrest. Russian Foreign Ministry has said that it is closely monitoring the protest and has called for a peaceful solution. The Kremlin has warned against foreign interference in the conflict and said Kazakhstan can handle its own problems. Neither of the statements mentioned the U.S. So, and I will read this here. It says, however, late on Wednesday, Kazakh President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev announced the Russia-led Collective Security Treaty Organization for help in stabilizing the situation, saying that foreign-trained terrorists were overrunning strategic facilities. His government declared a nationwide state of emergency. So, and the rest goes into what it is. But that's being thrown out there. Probably important to pay attention to. And here, looting in Kazakhstan amid the protests. So that was the last headline that came out on it. So I guess stuff is still pretty crazy over there. I don't know how information's going to get out of Kazakhstan. I'm sure that information will get out, but the flow of it will be much, much more limited. So due to the internet being shut down and all those fun things, but it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And yes, it could absolutely happen here. All it takes is for the prices to go high enough that people can't afford to live. And when I say people, I mean a large amount of the people. There's already people that can't afford to live. There's lots of people that can barely make ends meet in this country. But you take away any possible chance, like right now, energy costs. If you doubled heating costs right now, which is essentially what happened to them in Kazakhstan, if you doubled the cost of heating right now, and also because of those measures, in a short amount of time, other costs are going to come up. Prices in the stores and stuff like that, they're going to rise too. If you raise the price of natural gas, everything's going to go up in due time. So, but right away, your heating costs are going to just absolutely be unattainable. And what's going to happen? You're going to have unrest. And that's why I wanted to point out just how quickly things are escalating over in Kazakhstan. That's what happens. When people don't have anything else to lose, they lose it. Plain and simple. So, let's hope that the American people are not put in between a rock and a hard place like that. That's something I'm concerned about. Let's see. Ministry of Defense accused of failing British troops and taxpayers. We don't know any countries like that, do we? Taliban reportedly orders beheading of shop mannequins. That's correct. in the latest of the late of laws, now mannequins must be headless. Starmer and Johnson united against mayor's relaxation of drug policy. Luxury car maker has no spare parts to fix fire risk issue. Labor leader tests positive again for COVID. I think I read the 6th time. If I'm not mistaken, this is like the 6th time. Canada agrees to historic reparations for 200,000 Indigenous children. And there was a whole lot more than that. Constitutional Court dismisses oral sex debt case. Yeah, that's kind of an interesting animal right there. I'm not going to get into that because it's, yeah. But it's over at our Twitter page. Manufacturer kills classic business smartphone. I read that earlier. And that. UK care sector declares red alert amid COVID staffing shortage. A soldier was killed by a deer at the presidential palace. This was in Paraguay. And I want to say that deer, it wasn't just a wild deer, it was actually a gift. It was a gift. I don't know it even. That set me down in my seat. I'm like, what are people supposed to think on that? So, like, one country gives a gift to another country, and it happens to be this deer, and and then one of the soldiers gets killed by the deer. I mean, I'm sorry. This is just bizarre to me. I don't know what to think about it, and I guess that's what throws me off balance. Taiwan fighter jets act out war scenario. Belgium complicit in killing of unpopular African leader, a book claims. Wall Street Bank predicts the end of gold era. I don't like that one bit. Read that one. Taiwan cheers rum producer to make China feel sour. Pope, this is crazy. Pope Francis accuses childless pet owners of selfishness. Yeah, so if you've got pets and you don't have kids, you're selfish, according to the Pope. India concerned by Merck COVID pill side effects. Read that one. Master Chef slammed after cooking showdown features shark, alligator, and capybara. I'm probably saying the name of that creature wrong. Pandemic babies may have slight development lag, says a study. Chicago teachers shut down in-person classes. A devastating U.S. row house fire leaves 7 children dead. Nationwide state of emergency declared I read that one, sorry. And that one. GOP reacts to White House saying Biden hasn't got any time to think. DCFS worker stabbed to death during a home visit. That I thought was crazy. Twitter to hunt for harmful content on January 6th. Let's see. That was kind of just an article that kind of did the timeline of what's going on in Kazakhstan. Culprit behind enormous California fire named. Apparently it was a PG&E electrical line. And let's see. NASCAR rejects the Let's Go Brandon sponsorship, so that guy's got to find another sponsor. North Korea, I covered that one. Trump explains cancellation of January 6th event. And we covered those. That's it. We're done. I did it again. Oh, no, I didn't. Last night I kept under half an hour, I think. Didn't come close to that tonight. Anyway, that's all I got. I'm going to get out of here and relax, and I might fly for a little bit. I don't know. And God willing, we'll see you tomorrow, and we'll wrap up this week. So, anyway, I hope you all have a good evening. Hope to see you tomorrow night. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.